everyone. Welcome back to Lady T's Kitchen. Today on the menu, we're making pulled pork. Now, here's my ingredients for my pulled pork. I have my smoked maple seasoning. I have my sweet paprika. I have some thyme here. I have some garlic herbs here, my garlic cloves. I'm making macaroni and cheese. I'm making some mustard and turnip greens with a little bit of collard in there. I have my condensed milk, my pet milk here, my cheeses that I'm going to put into my macaroni and cheese. I have my green onions, bell pepper. May not use those, but I got them out. My tomatoes I'm going to slice up for my greens. And here is my pork here, my pork butt. I'm seasoning my pork butt that I can get ready to prepare so I can put it in the oven. I decided that I was going to just go ahead and put it in the oven instead of smoking it. I was thinking about putting it outdoors. It's cold out there, but hey, it doesn't scare me. We cook all or grill all winter long, so that's what we do. Been doing that for years. So I'm seasoning my pork butt. I'm actually putting my garlic herb in there. Look like it's a lot of seasoning going on, but don't be alarmed. It's all going to go well. I'm marinating it. I'm seasoning it up. I pretty much even did it the night before. So this is what I did the night before. Season it all up with all my good ingredients here. I even have my thyme. I have some Italian seasoning. And I took out Dr. Pepper. Now, I don't always do it that way, but I tried it before. It turned out nicely because I kind of wanted to give that nice sweet heat to it. I have some Cajun seasoning that I'm actually putting inside of it. And I did some liquid smoke that I put in it. That's my bourbon salt there, my bourbon sea salt. It can be like a finishing salt, but I went on ahead and just sprinkled it over my pulled pork there. And I'm going to go ahead and just put that on in the oven after I set it in the fridge, overnight. So I did put that in oven now. I'm getting my greens together. And after I did my greens, I got those on, washed those up, did my pork butt. It's been in the oven now for several hours. You saw that I was pouring the drippings back on top of it. And now I'm preparing my mac and cheese. And I don't like saying mac and cheese because it's not mac and cheese. We say macaroni and cheese. That's how we say it in this house. And that's what my family says. I mean, anybody that knows about macaroni and cheese, that's how they pronounce it. So I greased my pan up. And I want that to be like a buttery bottom to it so that the macaroni and cheese, after I drain all the rest of the water out, can actually glide across that pan there. Put a little bit more butter in it so all of those noodles can get nice and buttery, get that butter flavor. I also got some sliced Kraft cheese. Everybody does their macaroni and cheese different. I got the sliced cheese that I'm going to take out, put a little bit of butter in a pot, and put a little bit of milk in there, the sweet milk we call it, and let the cheese melt down a little bit. That's going to be my cheese sauce. I'm putting 3 eggs in there. Depending on how much macaroni and cheese you're making, you're going to be able to balance out the eggs that way. Some people mix their eggs beforehand and then pour the milk and the eggs together and then pour it inside of the noodles. But this is how I've been raised to do it. I've been doing it for years and it worked for us. That's my sliced cheese there. So I'm getting all that combined and mixed up. Got to make sure that that is all the ingredients there as far as the eggs and the butter is mixed really good. I got 3 cans of pet milk out, but I think I only used pretty much 2. So I'm actually going to go ahead and start pouring my milk inside of it. I got 1 can there that I just poured. I'm going to mix that and make sure that that is all combined together. Make sure those noodles are just, mixed in really well. The the eggs, the butter, now the milk combined together. We want to make sure all that is good and ready and combined. So I poured the second can in there. I added some cheese in there. I don't pour my cheese in there right away. I just want to make sure all that's combined. I put some Colby Jack. I got some mozzarella. I have some Parmesan cheese. Depending on what I want in my macaroni and cheese at the time, that's what I'll put in there. I sometimes use my smoked Gouda. I can use smoky cheddar, depending on what you want, depending on the meal. I just have to think about what I'm cooking in order for the cheeses to, pair with, the macaroni and cheese or with the actual meal that I'm making. So there I go. I finished everything up and put all my cheese combined, and then I just shred a little bit more, drizzle a little bit more on top of it, and so that I can go ahead and put it in the oven. I put a little bit of butter. That's how my mom likes to do it, to get the little edges kind of brown. So while the macaroni and cheese is in the oven, I'm making some sweet cornbread. My daughters love sweet cornbread. There's my mac. I, on the other hand, like buttermilk cornbread, but pairing with the pulled pork and the macaroni and cheese and the greens, I think the sweet cornbread goes better. So I did a little bit of both. I got 3 boxes of Jiffy corn mix out, and I end up putting some buttermilk cornbread mix. They didn't see that, but I added that in there anyway. I got 2 eggs. I melted some butter. I put my butter in there, a stick of butter. I put that in there, and I'm putting a little bit of vanilla flavor in there as well. I put some sugar in there as well. I have some buttermilk that I added into that, and I'm going to add a little bit of sweet milk as well, a margarine milk. So I'm going to make sure that that's all balanced. So we got a little bit of the buttermilk corn mix that has all that in there. I added a little bit of that extra in there. Added a little bit of the margarine milk in there, marinated milk in there, and so sweet milk. And so all that's combined up, making sure that's all mixed in, making sure the eggs is all mixed in, and balance it out. Just balance everything out. I already have my skillet on the stove there that I melted some butter. Normally I would take it and put it in the oven, but my oven is occupied right now. So I went on ahead and melted the butter down, poured the corn mix inside of the cornmeal mix inside of the cast iron skillet there. So we making skillet corn bread. And it's going to be it's going to be fluffy because actually I made it this way before and it turned out okay. So it's a lot of cornmeal in there, but it will turn out right. It will balance everything out. So I'm going to go ahead and add that in the oven. I went on and took my pulled pork out. That's the dripping from the pulled pork that it was cooking in, all the au jus that it was cooking in. So I pour that into a pot, a sauce pot, and I'm adding some that sticky barbecue sauce, that Caroline sticky barbecue sauce in there, sweet Caroline, and I'm going to go ahead and drizzle that eventually all over the pork there. Now I'm breaking it up. I'm making sure that it's all combined and moist. I mean, it was really literally falling off the bone. The bone that was inside just slid right on out. So I'm going to save that bone for later. So now you see that the pork is all broken up there. It's ready for it to be sauced. There's my sauce there that I took off the stove. And I'm going to go ahead and start drizzling that on top of the pork there. So take as much as you need. I didn't want to pour too much, but I did kind of want it soaked because the ideal is to put it over the cornbread and the macaroni and cheese. That combination there goes so good together. Now, a while back, I made a pulled pork sandwich, and I did the coleslaw. Now, oh my goodness, that's another, that is so good. That's another story there. I'll show that later. Maybe I'll do it again. But there we go. We're combining that sauce and we're combining it all together with that pork. Like I said, I put some Dr. Pepper in there. I even put a little bit of brown sugar. There's a little bit of brown sugar bourbon that I put on there that I brought from, it's by McCormick's Grill Mate. And then you saw me sprinkle some of that sea salt brown sugar on top as well. So that kind of give it a little balance because it's a salt taste with the sweet. You don't want it overly sweet. So there we have it. We're actually mixing that in. It's ready. The macaroni and cheese is ready. So I'm going to go ahead and taste it because you got to taste your food now. You can't just serve it to anybody and just think that it's going to be all right. I had to see what was missing. And it was delicious. I wish you can smell it. Oh my goodness, this kitchen smells so good. So there's my macaroni and cheese. It's out of the oven. And I'm going to go ahead and start serving and plating up. There's my greens. So tender, so good. I have some smoked meat in there. Sometimes I use smoked turkey, but this time I use smoked neck bones. And that's what's in that. I have my garnishing. I have my chopped up parsley, my tomatoes, and my onions. And there we have it. I had to just show a picture of that. That macaroni and cheese looks so pretty. Nice and cheesy. Just right. Wish I had smell-o-vision, smell-o-video, so you can just smell this kitchen. Nice little meal on a nice Saturday afternoon. Go ahead and make my husband's plate. He is normally the first one I make. You see me cutting that big old piece of cornbread. You want your cornbread? Now here we have it. We have our pulled pork, our sweet cornbread, our macaroni and cheese, and we have our greens with our garnishings, our tomatoes and green onions. Thanks for watching. I do appreciate you.